What would you do if your entire identity was built on exposing others, and then the internet turned that same weapon on you? This is Jordan Rivera's story. And before you judge him, ask yourself, have you ever called someone out online, demanded someone be canceled, believed that shame was the same thing as accountability? Because Jordan built an empire on public shame. 2 million followers hung on his every expose, until the day he became the expose. Jordan Rivera's thumb hovered over the post button. 2 million followers, one devastating expose. He leaned back in his ergonomic chair, the city skyline glowing behind floor-to-ceiling windows of his downtown apartment. The video was perfect, tight editing, receipts layered over damning screenshots, his voiceover sharp and righteous. Another predator exposed. Another win for accountability. He tapped post, then opened his camera for a direct address to his audience. When you see injustice, you don't stay silent. You don't give second chances to people who've had 100 chances already. You hold them accountable. That's what this platform is for. His notification counter exploded. 500 comments in 3 minutes. Brands rescinded sponsorships from his target within the hour. Jordan screenshotted the announcements, added them to his Instagram story with a simple caption, "Actions meet consequences." His phone buzzed. His mother. The text read, "Saw your latest post. I'm proud you're fighting the good fight, mijo, but maybe take a break. You've posted 4 of these this week." He typed back quickly, "Can't rest when there's work to do. People are counting on me." But something shifted in the following weeks. The submissions in his DMs grew sharper, hungrier. One message, "This girl in my class used the R word. Here's the video." Another, "My coworker misgendered someone. Thread with proof." A third, "This teacher rolled her eyes when a student asked for accommodations." Jordan paused on that last one. He watched the shaky phone footage. A teacher, mid-lecture, briefly closing her eyes and sighing when interrupted. Is that enough? His followers thought so. 473 comments demanded he cover it. By midnight, he'd edited it into a 90-second call-out, posted, trending by morning. The teacher's school launched an investigation. His girlfriend Sophia appeared in the doorway, wrapped in his hoodie. "It's 3 a.m., Jordan. You promised we'd talk tonight." He didn't look up from his screen. "I know, babe. Just this one was time-sensitive. The algorithm doesn't care if we're okay. Neither do the people getting hurt out there. I'm doing something that matters." She didn't argue, just turned back to bed. Jordan barely noticed, already scrolling to the next submission. He muttered to himself, "If you're not calling it out, you're complicit." That philosophy, call out first, ask questions never, had built his empire. Followers loved his decisiveness. Sponsors paid for his certainty. Why would he change now? 3 months later, the machine ran on its own momentum. Jordan posted twice daily now, sometimes 3 times if something urgent broke. His standards for urgency had adjusted. Sophia sat across from him at dinner, their first in 2 weeks. "Your brother called me. He says you blocked him." Jordan's jaw tightened. He defended that comedian, the one who made trans jokes. It was his friend from college. He was trying to give context. "There's no context for bigotry. I thought you understood that." Her voice dropped to almost a whisper. "I understand that he's your brother, and he's not a bigot. He just sees nuance." "Nuance is just another word for excusing harm." By month 4, his own comment sections became battlegrounds. Not everyone agreed with his targets anymore. Some people pushed back, pointed out missing context, questioned his sources. Jordan's responses grew sharper. One comment, "Did you reach out to this person for their side?" His reply, "Abusers don't deserve platforms." Next question. Another comment, "This seems like a misunderstanding." His reply, "And this seems like you're defending racism." Noted. His follower count hit 2.5 million, but something felt hollow. He checked his phone 17 times during his mother's birthday dinner. posted a happy birthday mom story without actually saying it to her face. His best friend Marcus met him for coffee. "Man, you've been different lately. When's the last time we just hung out? No phones." "I've been busy. You know that. Busy tearing people apart on the internet." Jordan's voice went cold. Holding people accountable isn't tearing them apart. Marcus leaned forward, frustration breaking through. "That girl last week, the one who liked a problematic tweet from 2019, she's 19, Jordan. Her college rescinded her acceptance. Actions have consequences. She apologized. She explained she didn't even read the whole tweet before liking it. I don't make excuses for my followers. If she didn't want consequences, she shouldn't have." Marcus stood up, his chair scraping against the floor. "You know what? Call me when you remember what empathy looks like." Marcus walked down. Jordan watched him go, fingers already composing a subtweet about friends who value tone over justice. But the next morning, his hands shook as he opened Twitter. His name was trending, not because of someone he exposed, because he was the exposure. An anonymous account, @receiptsforriverera, had posted a 47-tweet thread. Screenshots from Jordan's high school Twitter, tweets from age 15, 16, 17, jokes about women, casually dropped slurs in gaming contexts, mocking LGBTQ+ peers with his football teammates. One particularly cruel thread targeting a classmate with acne. Every tweet timestamped, every screenshot verified. The internet didn't wait for context. A comment under the thread, "The audacity of this man calling anyone problematic." Another, "He ruined people's lives for less than this." A third, "Hypocrite of the Century Award goes to..." Jordan's phone buzzed continuously, notifications piling faster than he can read. 127 missed calls, 2,847 unread DMs. Sophia's name appeared 3 times in his recent calls, his mom twice. The emails arrived in waves. After careful review, Better World Coffee has decided to terminate our partnership immediately. Ethical threads cannot align with creators who don't embody our values. Your recent behavior contradicts everything Progress Tech stands for. Jordan locked his apartment door, unplugged his router. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. He spoke to the empty room, his voice cracking. "But I changed. I was 16. I'm not that person anymore." He stopped, played back his own words from hundreds of videos. His own voice echoed in his memory. "Growth doesn't erase harm. Who you were matters. Accountability means accepting consequences, not demanding forgiveness." His own philosophy, weaponized against him. By day 3, he was featured in every top 10 canceled influencers compilation. His face, frozen in that confident smirk from his profile photo, became a meme for hypocrisy. Sophia stopped answering his calls. His mother left a voicemail he couldn't bring himself to play. Marcus sent one text, "I don't feel good about this, but I also can't defend you right now. I need space." Week 2. Jordan hadn't left his apartment in 9 days. The fridge contained expired milk and half a rotisserie chicken. He ordered delivery but couldn't eat. The dasher probably recognized him, probably hated him. The shame sat in his chest like concrete. He scrolled through old posts, not his teen tweets, but his recent exposés. That teacher with the eye roll, the college kid with the liked tweet, the woman who'd used the wrong pronoun once in a meeting. He whispered to the screen, "What did I do to you?" He found the teacher's Facebook, private now, but her sister's wasn't. A public post from 3 weeks ago. "Please stop sending death threats to my sister. She's been on medical leave for her mental health. She's a good person who made a human mistake." Jordan closed the laptop, breathed into his hands, felt sick. At 3 a.m. on the 17th day, he sat on his couch in the dark. Outside, the city that once felt like his stage now felt like it was watching him, judging him. He spoke to the darkness. "I thought I was helping. I thought—" A knock interrupted him. At this hour? Jordan considered not answering, but the knock came again, gentle but persistent. He opened the door to Mrs. Kim, his elderly Korean neighbor from 3B. They'd shared maybe 10 words in 3 years. She was holding a thermos. "You are awake. I see your light under door many nights now." Jordan's throat tightened.
"Mrs. Kim, I appreciate it, but you let in old woman. My feet hurt from standing." He didn't have the energy to refuse. Mrs. Kim didn't ask what happened, didn't mention his name trending or the articles. She just poured soup into mismatched mugs — Jordan hasn't done dishes in a week — and sat across from him. "You know, I come from Busan, South Korea during wartime." Jordan nodded, uncertain where this was going. "I was 16. My village, very traditional, very strict about loyalty." She blew on her soup, eyes distant.
"American soldier stationed near us. His name, Thomas. Good man. Helped fix things. Roofs, walls damaged by fighting. One day, my sister, Unji, very sick. Fever that would not break. No medicine in village." She paused. "Thomas had medicine from army supplies. I traded him my mother's scarf, only valuable thing we had, for antibiotics. My sister lived." Jordan's voice was soft. That sounds like you did the right thing." Mrs. Kim gave a sad smile. "My village did not think so. Trading with American? Enemy collaborator, they called me. Traitor to Korean people. I was 16, Jordan. Same age like you when you wrote those tweets." Jordan's chest tightened. "They shamed me, put sign on my family's door. My mother had to defend me to neighbors. My father didn't speak to me for 2 months. The boy I was supposed to marry, his family rejected match. I was marked. But you saved your sister's life." "Yes, and also, I was young girl who made choice in desperation. Both true. But they only saw the shame. No one asked about sister. No one asked if I struggled with decision. Just punishment, exile, forever marked as the collaborator girl." She sipped her soup, let the silence sit. What happened after? "I left the village when I was 19, came to Seoul, started over, built new life. But shame didn't make me better person, Jordan. Shame just made me hide, made me afraid to make any choice. Took years before I could trust my own judgment again." Jordan's voice cracked. "I didn't just call people out. I destroyed some of them, and I felt righteous doing it. Because you believed shame fixes people. Shame breaks people. What fixes people is truth and grace and space to change. But accountability," her voice was firm but kind, "accountability is saying you harmed someone, you must repair it. Shame is saying you harmed someone, so you deserve to be destroyed. Very different things." Jordan sat with that. The soup steamed between them. Outside, the city started its pre-dawn stirring. "I don't know how to fix this. What I did, what I became. Maybe you don't fix. Maybe you rebuild. Different foundation this time." She stood, patted his hand. "Soup still in thermos. Eat when you can. And Jordan, the fact that you feel this shame means you are not beyond repair. Means you understand now what you caused in others. That understanding, that is the first brick of new foundation." She left. Jordan sat with the soup growing cold, something shifting in his chest. For the first time in 17 days, he felt something other than despair. He felt direction.
4 months later, November rain streaked Jordan's window. A smaller window now in a smaller apartment in a quieter neighborhood. His follower count sat at 847,000. Many left during the scandal. Some stayed out of curiosity. A few stayed because they sensed something genuine emerging. Jordan adjusted his microphone. The setup was simpler now. No high production lighting, no perfectly curated background. Just him, a decent camera, and a second chair. He looked at the camera, speaking directly to his audience. "Hi everyone, I'm Jordan Rivera, and this is Conversations for Change. I won't pretend you don't know who I am or what I did, but I want to do something different now. I want to have the conversations I should have been having all along." His first guest was Maria Torres, the teacher he'd exposed for the eye roll. She'd agreed to talk after Jordan sent a handwritten apology and asked nothing in return. Maria, I owe you a direct apology. On camera, where I caused the harm. I didn't know your context. I didn't ask. I didn't care. I'm sorry. Thank you for saying that. The aftermath was, it was the hardest period of my life. I almost left teaching, a profession I love. Can you tell me what happened? Her voice broke. I just learned my mother had stage 4 cancer. That morning, I was barely holding it together. When that student interrupted, she paused, collecting herself. It wasn't about accommodations. It was about me being human in a moment of crisis. But I couldn't defend myself without your followers saying I was making excuses. They talked for 43 minutes. Not a debate, not a performance. A conversation about harm, repair, and the humanity that algorithms erase. At the end of the interview, Maria spoke quietly. I'm not saying what I did was perfect. I should have handled it better, but I'm grateful we can have this conversation now, where you actually see me as a person. I'm grateful you're giving me the chance I never gave you. Over the following weeks, conversations for change grew. Jordan interviewed a restorative justice advocate who explained the difference between accountability and punishment, a platform moderator who shared how algorithms profit from outrage, a reformed white supremacist about the process of genuine ideological change. And in episode 8, Mrs. Kim joined him. She spoke to the camera with calm wisdom. When I see what happened to Jordan, I see my own story. Young person makes mistakes. Community decides punishment is forever. But people, real people, we are not fixed things. We grow, we change. We deserve space to do that. Jordan added, Mrs. Kim literally showed up at my door with soup when I was at my lowest. She didn't lecture me, she didn't shame me. She just sat with me and told me her story. That changed everything. Because shame alone changes nothing. Shame plus compassion, that changes hearts. By spring, Jordan had built something new. Not an empire, a community. He partnered with local restorative justice organizations, hosted workshops on accountability without destruction, mentored 3 young activists who'd been caught in cancel culture cycles, helping them rebuild with different foundations. His follower count stayed modest, but his impact deepened. At a community center in East LA, Jordan spoke to 40 teenagers about media literacy and compassion. A teen raised her hand. But what about actual bad people? Don't they deserve to be called out? Jordan smiled gently. That's the question I asked myself for years, and here's what I learned. Yes, harm needs naming. Abuse needs stopping. But there's a difference between accountability, which says this behavior hurt people and must change, and destruction, which says this person is irredeemable and deserves annihilation. I used to think my job was to destroy. Now I think my job is to help build something better. Sometimes that means naming harm, but it also means leaving space for people to change, because I needed that space, and someone gave it to me.
Sophia appeared at his door on a Tuesday evening. They'd been in therapy, individual and couples. It was slow, but it was real. I saw your episode with the restorative justice woman. Yeah? You're different. Actually different. Not performing different. I'm trying. Some days are harder than others. She gave him a soft smile. Want to get dinner? Not delivery. Actual sit-down, phones-off dinner. His smile was genuine. I really like that. The final scene, Jordan sat across from a 19-year-old named David, whose life imploded after a viral call-out. David's hands shook as he held his coffee. I don't know how to come back from this. Everyone thinks I know, I was you. Different details, same shame spiral. Can I tell you what someone told me when I felt that way? David nodded. Shame doesn't fix people. Truth, grace, and space to change, that's what fixes people. You did something that hurt others. That's true. You also have the capacity to understand that harm and do better. Also true. Both can exist. Jordan leaned forward. The question isn't whether you deserve forgiveness. The question is, what are you going to build with this experience? Because shame can either bury you, or it can become the foundation for something better. Jordan's voice, reflective and measured. I used to think accountability meant punishment.
that calling someone out was the same as holding them responsible. I was wrong. Real accountability makes space for people to face their harm, repair what they can, and become better than they were. A pause. I destroyed people because an algorithm rewarded me for it, because outrage felt like justice, because shame felt like power. But shame is just a weapon that eventually comes for everyone. Another pause, deeper. The real question isn't whether you've made mistakes. It's whether you're willing to do the hard work of changing, not for forgiveness, not for redemption, but because the person you're becoming deserves better than the person you were, and so does everyone around you. Thank you for joining me for another story here on The Turning Point. Jordan's journey reminds us that shame doesn't create change. Compassion does. The deepest form of accountability isn't destroying someone for their worst moment. It's creating space where people can face their harm, repair what they broke, and become better than they were. Have you ever called someone online? Maybe you demanded someone be canceled, believing that public shame was the same as justice. Maybe you felt righteous watching someone's career implode, convinced they deserved it. Or maybe you've been on the other side, targeted, shamed, reduced to your worst moment with no path back. What would happen if the next time you saw someone make a mistake, instead of immediately reaching for your phone to expose them, you paused and asked, what would help this person understand the harm they caused? What if accountability looked less like destruction and more like truth-telling with space to change? Maybe you're Jordan, building an empire on outrage and wondering why you feel so isolated. Or maybe you're one of the people he hurt, trying to rebuild your life after becoming someone else's viral moment, wondering if you'll ever be allowed to be more than your worst mistake. But here's what I want you to consider. What if the most powerful thing you could do isn't calling someone out, but calling them in? What if your addiction to online justice is actually preventing the real accountability and healing that everyone needs? If Jordan's story moved you, I'd love to hear about a time when you realized that shame wasn't teaching anyone, it was just breaking them. Or maybe you're learning right now how to hold people accountable without destroying them, how to speak truth without weaponizing it. Leave a comment below and share your story. Your turning point might be exactly what another person caught in cancel culture needs to hear today. And if you're ready for another powerful transformation story about discovering that the weapon you built to punish others eventually came for you, check out our next video. We drop a new story every week that proves accountability isn't found in viral callouts and public shame. It's found in truth, grace, and the courage to help people change. Don't forget to like this video if Jordan's journey made you reconsider what real accountability looks like, and subscribe for more stories where online justice meets human reality. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a turning point that could transform how you hold yourself and others accountable. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is put down the pitchforks and pick up compassion. I'll see you in the next video.